towards knowing the importance of digital itself. So in Oz itself, we're really looking at saying the future, it's really in technology. The future, it's really in identifying how are we able to effectively digitize.
Hey everybody, this is Yannick Collins and welcome to Oz Living. In this episode, we are joined today by the Chief Technical Officer of Oz Living. He is a serial entrepreneur as well as technologist who has been on the tech space for 16 years. Let us get to know the man, Hui Jie Lim. Thank you so much for carving out the time.
My pleasure.
So, Hui Jie Lim, as I was reading your bio, I was super fascinated by the fact that you listed your company at the London Stock Exchange at the age of 26, making you the youngest executive director at that point. Tell me, when did this all start? When did that entrepreneurial spirit of yours was born?
Yeah, I guess very many years back, one of the key things that I really look at is about the fascination around technology and the passion about it. You know, if we really look at times in antiquity, if we talk about how fire was actually created, whether to warm ourselves, or whether we move on towards how we're actually able to use gunpowder to fight wars, or to have an oven or stove to make food, and moving forward, very much creating rockets where we can bring us very much towards the new frontiers of space. Technology is one of the key things that really make a huge difference in the human race. But fundamentally as well, whether we use it for good or whether we use it for evil, that's very much an area that we as human beings would decide. So very much from an early stage, I find technology highly fascinating because that would really make a difference of whether we impact for good or for evil. So at a very young age, I think that technology always has been a huge area that I'm highly passionate in, and that's where I started on my technology route to see how I can make a difference in the world.
I love it, and that makes a good segue to your company vision, which is one of the core values that you have is making tech for the betterment of the humanity, isn't that correct? So can you tell me more about your company?
Yeah, so when we first started Vision, one of the things that I really look at is what are key problems that people out there really face and what would be a difference that I could really make. So the key tagline that we actually came out for Vision, which we made even before we came out with the name, was Vision to Reality. And one of the things that we realized from a technological angle is that a lot of people are very much at a sweet spot or at transition point in their business. Brick and mortar, they're doing fantastic well. But moving forward, technology is going to be a very pivotal part on whether they succeed, they fail, or they really make it to the next level. So when we first started Vision, the idea was really about how to help a lot of our clients and partners turn the vision that they have to reality. And I basically feel that technology is very much a core area of making that difference.
Fantastic. And your products encompasses, AI, blockchain, crypto. What else do you have in your service?
So when we first started, we really looked into the areas of data. And the three core technologies that we believe strongly that will really make a huge impact is in the areas of blockchain, AI, and cybersecurity. And why we look at that is because we look at blockchain for data trust, AI for data clarity, and cybersecurity for peace of mind. And fundamentally, we can't really have one without the others because I might have data trust using blockchain, but if I do not know how to use my data, in areas of AI, it will not be fully optimized. Or if I have very sensitive data and I have full forms of data clarity, but I'm not secured, and a lot of hackers actually get my data, that becomes a problem as well. So we identified blockchain, AI, cybersecurity as three pivotal parts in future-proofing companies and really making a difference for their future.
The trinity that is.
Exactly.
And now that you have partnered with Oz, tell us about the blockchain ecosystem that you're building within the Oz blockchain infrastructure.
So I guess one of the things that really attracted us to look at the Oz project is when we look at Oz having the key drive of open zone and looking at ecozones itself, one of the key things that really make a difference in the world itself, it's how technology and good technology is being adopted. Even if we have fantastic technology and it's not adopted, that's a problem. And one of the key areas that I think can really drive and make a difference in the areas of Oz is that Oz is actually a government-supported project. One of the few government-supported projects that they are doing very much at a massive scale. And the area and idea of being able to assist ecozones globally, of which we probably have about 5,000 to 6,000 ecozones today, and having that as a sandbox to actually immediately impact the rest of the nation's technology, the rest of the nation's entire ecosystem, is something that I feel would be highly meaningful. Because by having that sandbox and by being able to make a key difference within the ecozone itself, test bait it, and identify which are the projects that eventually can do really well, which are the projects that might not just be highly impactful, and making a difference within that digital space is something I feel highly passionate about. So when we look at Oz, we think that this project will really make a difference, both in the country that originated in, as well as the rest of the world.
Fantastic. Very well said. Could you outline the objectives, the main objectives that the Oz blockchain provides to its users?
I think one of the key things about Oz blockchain, it's really about bringing digital and physical together. And many a time we have been living very much in the physical world for a pretty long time, and a lot of people are now looking towards the digital space. We have very much highly been accelerated throughout the last 2 or 3 years because of pandemic, where people say, I can just live in the physical world and not do anything digital, and now has very much accelerated the behavior towards knowing the importance of digital itself. So in Oz itself, we're really looking at saying the future, it's really in technology. The future, it's really in identifying how are we able to effectively digitize the entire space itself. So the first thing that Oz really brings forth is to be able to blend both the digital and the physical space and identify which are the areas of highest impact. The second thing we look at is interoperability. The idea is about how we get connectedness across all different forms of projects, people, whether it's from a government level, from an organization level, or from a people level. Having a good test bed where we're able to plug in through a common standard multiple different systems, multiple different organizations, and identifying the best data layer to be able to impact the nation, the country itself. It's what we're attempting to do from interoperability angle. And the third angle, which is most important, it's how do we build forth trust. And that's the reason why we utilize blockchain, primarily because of the data layer being highly immutable, we're able to be traceable, and we're able to identify whether there are any bad actors within the space itself that's trying to do something funny. So from an interoperability angle, from a trust angle, as well as from a digital to physical angle, that's one of the key building blocks of what we're looking at.
I just want to bring you back quickly to the digital and the physical. By digital, what do you mean by Metaverse?
Well, digital has many different aspects. When we define the Metaverse, it's very much like a parallel universe which we are able to have multiple different parallels in the particular space. So when we talk about digital at very much the basic layer, it's just taking physical paper and turning it digital and having some forms of layer where we are able to have a frictionless experience in that space. Then we bring that experience to the next level where we're then able to interact with it from a 360 sensory perspective with different people in that space. So the end eventual result would be an experience from a metaverse layer, but starting from where we are, that's going to be a journey of where we will eventually be able to reach.
I love it. I love it. Well, at least Metaverse is in the time frame.
Yes, definitely. That's going to be part of something we definitely need to work on and do. That will be the future. That will be the future.
And are there any thing in the pipeline that you are particularly excited about?
I think one of the key things that we always look at is what we term as unit economics within the space itself. Whether it's from identity, whether it's from payments, will be a wallet, whether it's in the areas of looking at location in the areas of maps. So one thing which I'm really excited about in the next upcoming couple of months is we're going to start to roll out a lot of the infrastructure-based items that assist the physical and digital to blend together. Today we start off with the wallets, we start off with exchanges. We're now next looking into the areas of digital identity, in the areas of governance, through a token-based model that allow the community to vote on, and at the same time, for good projects they're voted on, they're able to be benefited.
Fantastic. What have been the feedback from the citizens of Oz, basically the individuals who have staked their token and basically have become part of the Oz land? What have been their feedback with regards to the whole infrastructure, you know, like the procedure of like registering in a wallet and then like staking and a KYC and all of that? Like what has been the feedback so far?
I think one of the things that the community is really excited on, it's in the roadmap that we're looking to roll out. Fundamentally, what we already have is good, but what we're going to roll out is even better. And one of the key things I think the community is really excited on, it's what's going to happen in the next couple of months. With the roadmap that we constantly share with the community, they're always asking like, when are we going to roll out the next key thing? Because with that inclusiveness, I think that's where the community really gets excited on what's going to come out and how they're going to be benefited from it as well.
You're always keeping them hanging.
You have to, right? I mean,
Exactly.
that's always about what the future or the promise of the future
It's the
can bring
thrill.
back.
It's the thrill.
Exactly.
So, last question for you: where do you see the future of Oz is headed?
I think Oz, it's going to be a project that really impact the space, primarily because one of the key difference of Oz is that it has crossed a certain hurdle that a lot of projects are not able to cross. And that's that they are able to get governmental support. And starting with that notion of starting from one country and eventually duplicating that towards the other ecozones globally, that's where I strongly believe that's able to really make a huge difference, because it's not just running from a decentralized based model, but it's also getting a decentralized based model where the people are able to influence it, but at the same time, they get high amount of support from the government to drive the initial projects through as well. So blending the support from a government basis, blending the support from a community basis, I think that's where it's really going to make a difference.
So inspiring. This conversation has been powerful in many respects. So I'm really thankful for your time and hoping that we get you on a show really soon.
Yes, definitely looking forward.
Thank you so much.